everyone, thank you for joining us at the National Marine Aquarium. We'll just wait to make sure everyone has connected. We are up in our Plymouth Sound exhibit and hopefully you can all hear me. So welcome guys if you've just joined us. We're at the National Marine Aquarium in Plymouth and we're currently looking out over our rock pool tank, and through the window you can just make out the boats in Plymouth Sound. Hello everyone, welcome to the National Marine Aquarium. Thank you for joining us today. Today we are going to be meeting some baby sharks and discovering some of the amazing animals that you find around the UK. Because in the UK we've got loads and loads of different habitats, places for animals to live. We've got rock pools, seagrass beds, kelp forests, shipwrecks and caves, and in all those habitats you find wonderful animals. But I think we should probably start with the cutest animal in the aquarium, our lovely little baby shark. So in the UK we actually have 40 different species of sharks visiting our shores, and the most common shark that you find is this little guy down here. This is Snap, and Snap is a 3-year-old spotted cat shark. Some of you might recognise it as a dogfish. They're also called dogfish, but we call them cat sharks here at the aquarium. And as I said, she's only 3, so she's not fully grown yet. When these guys are fully grown, they're about double the size of Snap. They're about 1 metre in length and much chunkier. At the moment, Snap is about the size of your ruler. She's about 30 centimetres long. And at the moment, she's having a rest. Now, sharks are pretty lazy animals and they spend as much time as possible sleeping. So Snap here will sleep for about 22 hours a day, which means she's only awake for about 2 hours. Now I've just noticed a few of you can't quite hear me, so I will try speaking a bit louder. Do comment if you can hear me or if you're having problems. But I will raise my voice. I'm a little bit quiet, so I apologise for that. So yes, this is Snap, and in a moment Snap is going to be having her breakfast. We're going to be waking her up because she spends too much time asleep. She's very lazy. So our lovely biologist Heather is at the top of the tank at the moment, and she's going to be popping some food into the water. And we've had a few questions about our wonderful sharks that you guys have sent in, so thank you for sending those in. A few of you would like to know what sharks eat, and today this little cat shark is having a prawn. Now, as I said, she's asleep, so Heather has to waft the food in front of her nose for a little while to encourage her to wake up. And there she is, swimming around. And she doesn't eat every day, but we do offer her food every day, just in case she gets hungry. So you can see Heather's got a bit of prawn on some pickers there, and Snap is gobbling it up. Now, Talia Green would like to know how many teeth a baby shark has, and little Snap here has about 50 teeth, which sounds like a lot, but they're very small teeth. They're tiny and they're quite blunt, and that's because as well as eating prawns, she likes to eat animals with shells like mussels and cockles, and she needs blunt teeth to help break open the shells of animals like crabs. So lots of teeth. But they are quite blunt. That's a lovely question. Now you can see she's swimming around. Now she's been woken up. I think that's probably enough food for her today because they don't eat a huge amount. As I said, they spend lots of time sleeping. Olivia F would like to know, how sharks' ears work. And that's a great question because you can't see the ears on a shark. They don't stick out like ours. And that's because they're internal ears. Sharks have got tiny holes by their eyes, and sound travels into those little ear holes and shakes the hair-like cells inside them and tells the brain that there's a noise nearby. And sharks are really in tune to sounds like flapping. So if a little fish is injured, a shark will hear it flapping in the water and go and try and find it to gobble it up. Now, she's a pretty tiny shark, but we've got some sharks that are even smaller than Snap. Can you see there's 2 sacs hanging at the top of the tank? Do any of you guys know what these sacs are called? Type it in the chat if you think you know what these little sacs are called. Has anyone seen them before? Any ideas? Excellent, yes, they're egg cases. We also call them mermaid's purses. And these egg cases are from cat sharks. So the female cat sharks will lay an egg and tie it to a piece of seaweed around the UK, and then the little baby shark will start to develop inside. Now in the egg on the left, you can see there's a big blob at the bottom, and this is the yolk. So a bit like in a chicken's egg, you have the orange yolk. Well, shark eggs have that too. And this yolk is the nutrients, the food for the baby shark. And you can see the baby shark is just sat on top of the yolk there. The shark on the left was laid about 3 months ago. So he's very small, he's tiny. You can just about make out his eye spots. And the shark on the right was laid about 6 months ago. So he's quite a bit bigger than the shark on the left. And his yolk is much, much smaller because he's eaten most of it already. And these little baby sharks will stay in their egg case for about 9 months until they're big enough to survive in the ocean on their own. Now, you guys might have found these egg cases at the beaches because when the babies hatch out, they'll often wash up with the seaweed. And they're really strong. The egg cases are really strong. They're made of something called keratin, which is the same substance that makes up our fingernails. So if you give your fingernails a little bend, if you squish them, you'll feel they're really strong. And that's exactly what the baby shark egg cases feel like. They're really tough. Toby in Macclesfield would like to know if baby sharks can look after themselves or if they need their mums. And that's a great question. They don't. They probably will never see their parents again once they hatch because they swim out and they can survive on their own. Harry from Dumau, who's 9, would like to know which egg takes the longest to hatch. Well, that would be the spiny dogfish, which takes about 2 years in total to hatch, which is an incredibly long time. We've got some shout outs today as well. Lots of you have been messaging in, which is lovely. So shout out to Louis B, shout out to Logan and his little dog Duke, to Ethan in Devon, who's never missed a session. Well done, that's amazing. You must really love the ocean, that's awesome. Shout out to Will, who loves marine animals, Rosabelle and Xander in Leeds, Andrew, who is 10 and loves all marine life and is missing his aquarium visits. Oh, well, we'll hopefully see you again soon. And shout out to Estella and Stephanie in Cambridge. Oh, you can see the little sharks are starting to wiggle now. And they have to do this every couple of minutes to get fresh oxygen into their egg, because just like fish, sharks use gills to help them breathe. And so they need to move to get fresh oxygen. Freddie from Leicestershire loves sharks and would like to know how many babies do they have. Oh, he's turning 4 this week, so happy birthday to you, Freddie. Well, these cat sharks, they lay a lot of eggs. In a year, they can lay about 200. And that's because when the little baby sharks hatch out, there are lots of animals in the sea that would like to eat them. So not many of them make it into adulthood, so they lay about 200. which is an incredible amount. Tyler, who's 4, and Amelia, who's 2, say, is it true sharks don't stop swimming? That's a really good question. And that's true for some sharks. So some sharks breathe using ram ventilation, so they open their mouths and let the water go over their gills. But other sharks, like our lovely little baby cat shark Snap down here, he uses something called bacual pumping. And that basically means pumping air with your cheeks. So he sucks water into his mouth and then he pushes it over his gills by pumping his cheeks. And that's really handy for our little cat shark because it means he can spend more time resting and use less energy. Lovely question. Now we are going, we've woken Snap up again. We are going to head around the corner now and have a look at our amazing wave tank, because we don't just have sharks in the UK, we've got lots of other species of animals too. And we'll have a look first at this animal that's stuck to the glass. And I'd like you to write in the chat if you know what this animal is. And while you're thinking and guessing, shout out to Dara, who's 10, and Rory, who's 5. From Northern Ireland, Toby and Ashby, who are really excited for this, Harrison, who's 7 in Colchester, Ethan, who's 7, and Evie, who's 6, who are watching from Bristol and love sea creatures. Excellent. Arthur Newton, who's 10 and loves all sharks. Well, I hope you liked our little cat shark, Snap, Arthur, and Ben and Aidan in Devon. So I can see lots of you have commented starfish. You're absolutely right. This is a starfish. Confusingly, they're not actually a fish because they don't have any gills. So some people like to call them sea stars as well. And I can see a few of you commenting sea stars. Now these starfish are incredible animals. They've got 5 lovely long legs and a mouth right in the center of their body. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something a little bit disgusting about our starfish now, so I hope you haven't got your lunch out ready to eat. When a starfish goes to eat its food, it will open its mouth really wide and then it will vomit its stomach out through its mouth and onto its food. It will go bleh, and it'll release digestive juices and turn its meal into a fishy, gloopy mess and then slurp it back inside. It's pretty gross. Freya and Lily want to know, what do starfish eat? Well, they eat lots of different things. They'll eat anything they can catch. So shellfish, small fish, they're basically scavengers. Ellis, who's in Plymouth, would like to know, do starfish have eyes? That's an excellent question. Starfish have got eyes on the end of each of their arms. Can you see where it's slightly red? That's where the starfish's eye is. And their eyes aren't like ours. They can't see shapes and colours and movements, but they can see light and dark. So that's pretty impressive for an animal that doesn't have a brain. Now you can see there's lots of other fish swimming around us now. We've got some grey stripy fish that are swimming past the camera. These are grey mullet. And if you ever walk around a harbour by the sea, you'll probably see these grey mullet swimming around because these are scavengers and they like to search through the mud looking for scraps of fish. There's a little golden fish in the centre at the moment. This is a baby pollock. He's about 3 years old and he's only about 20 centimetres, so he's quite small. When he's fully grown, he'll be about 1 metre. And if you've ever eaten fish fingers, then you've probably eaten one of these little pollock, because you often find pollock in fish fingers. Shout out to Morris and Penn. Hello to Lewis Davies, who's watching from Sidmouth. Happy birthday to Lucy. Alex, who's 9 and loves sharks. Shout out to Isla George, who's 7. Elijah, happy 10th birthday. It's your birthday on the 17th. And hi to Zavi and Bram, who are watching from Totnes. Now, if you guys ever go rock pooling or snorkeling or even scuba diving, you'll very likely see lots of the creatures that we're looking at the moment. And one of these creatures is hiding right at the bottom of the tank. Can you make out a little fish shape there at the bottom of the tank? He's very well camouflaged to the sand. This is a flatfish. He's a plaice, and he's just a baby too. He's about 2 years old. When they're fully grown, they're much larger than this. And they're very strange. When they're born, they look like a normal fish. And then as they get to about 4 weeks old, their whole body will flop over and their eyeball that's in the sand will move around their head and land on their cheek. And then they spend the rest of their life sat on the bottom like this. Just a reminder, if you haven't had your questions answered today or had a shout out, then we are also offering virtual tours. You can either do them with your family or with a group of friends and family for a birthday party. And we take you on a tour of the whole aquarium, and you can ask as many questions as you want to. To find these virtual tours, go to the experiences page on our website. Oh, there's a gorgeous cuckoo wrasse swimming past us right now. He's quite shy, so he's gone to swim behind the seaweed. Hello to Noah and Ivy, and shout out to Max from St Austell, and Winter Rose, who's 3 years old. So most of the creatures that we're looking at here, you'll notice, are greys and browns and silvers, and the starfish are kind of beige. And that's because all of these animals live amongst seaweed and sandy rock pools. So they've evolved these colours to help them camouflage. But our lovely cuckoo wrasse, that blue and pink fish, is a little different. He's very brightly coloured. Now we have reached the end of our shark tour. We have another tour in 2 weeks' time. This tour is going to be meeting our stingrays that are back of house. There's some little baby rays, some cow-nose rays, and some little sharks as well. They're amazing. So do catch that if you'd like to. But thank you so much for supporting us here at the National Marine Aquarium. Your 99p donation goes to the Ocean Conservation Trust. So we really appreciate you guys watching from home. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.